Before we get into this family times 10 film, please do us a favor, hit that subscribe button down at the bottom. There is a past villain that is flamboyant, but very, very mean in this film, and he's out to get him. But he's not out to kill Dominic Toretto. He has to suffer. You already know what you're gonna get. One, the word family used like 80 million times. Two, you're gonna get some hidden family members that comes out of nowhere and expect you to care for these people. And three, you're going to get a lot of high octane action that is absurd. And here at Mostly Wrong Opinions, we do not like the term turn your brain off. For every freaking film that we watch, we don't want to turn our brain off because a film is supposed to tell us something. Now, what this film was trying to say, I don't know if I speak the same language, okay? And I heard what these films are. Some people describe them as soap operas with cars.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I unironically love every Fast and Furious movie, much to my surprise. Last time we watched Fast 9, I went back and watched all the previous 8 back to back and had a grand old time. I was like, dang, these movies are awesome. I was sleeping on these. So I love this series. I think it's a good series. I think the people who complain about it being over the top are missing the point. But this movie, I think, is the worst Fast and Furious movie we've had so far. It's almost a parody of itself. So first of all, the movie starts off with a very long flashback to Fast 5. And we spend like 20 minutes watching an action scene from a previous movie. I mean, like, does it get more boring than that? I'm like, whoa, how long are we gonna watch the bank heist? I've seen Fast 5. And then after that, I was shocked at how this movie was edited. Okay, this movie was edited like a psychopath was editing this thing. Like, it was just, I'm like, holy shit.
It was edited like Taken 3, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, what? After the whole bank heist thing, right? There's a barbecue scene. Of course, what else would there be, right? There's a barbecue scene.
That'd be.
And the barbecue scene is cut like insane. It's like boom, 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 boom. And it's just grandma giving a speech. And I'm like, calm down, y'all. Grandma's trying to talk. He made a flag raise in my head. And I was like, I gotta look this up. Why does this movie suddenly look like Amateur Hour? And I looked it up. I don't keep up with the Fast franchise, so I know this is old news, but it was brand new news to me. Supposedly behind the scenes, Justin Lin was supposed to direct this, but he quit. He rage quit in the middle of shooting. And they had to hire, I'm gonna mispronounce his name, but Louis Leterrier?
I believe that's his name.
Louis Leterrier.
Yeah,
so it's pretty obvious we've got a guy who's shooting another guy's script here. Not only that, he's shooting another guy's script with apparently Justin Lin's crew. This is a very strange mix of like behind the scenes shenanigans. Supposedly the reason why Justin Lin quit was because of arguments he had with Vin Diesel. He said Vin Diesel
hear about that.
He said Vin Diesel kept trying to veto every action scene and write his own action scenes. And people often say that the Fast and Furious franchise is more like a mosaic of action scenes held together by like a thin plot. And you know what? I would disagree with that on every other film except this one. Because that's exactly what this is. This is action scene, and then we stop and we watch Jason Momoa do a bizarre Joker impression, and then action scene, and then Jason Momoa doing a bizarre Joker impression, and then action scene. And this goes on for like 3 hours.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Jason Momoa, as charismatic as he is in this film, which is the most watchable and likable part of this film, he is very Joker-like. Like extremely Joker-like. I'm like, he is sitting down, having conversations with dead people. That
whole scene, what the Joker would do. I didn't understand that scene. I'm like, because it came in the wrong spot, right? That should have been our introduction to Jason Momoa's character. Our first introduction should have been this psychopath talking to these dead bodies. But the fact that it came in the middle, it's like, what am I learning? Am I learning that he's bad? I'm like, I knew that. And are we learning that he likes to paint his nails? Because I know that. So that whole scene for me, while as interesting as it looked, it didn't work. While he was doing a Joker impression, he aimed for Joker, but for me, I think he landed somewhere close to Iron Man 2's villain with the lightning whips, who would randomly show up with like golds in his
Whiplash.
mouth. And Whiplash, yeah. He had random golds in his mouth, and he had a random parrot on his shoulder that did nothing, and he wore eccentric outfits and had strange hair, and that's what Jason Momoa's character reminded me of.
He was flamboyantly funny and stuff like that, and Joker-like, and even past Joker, like you said. But he did make a good point about Dominic Toretto, which is I think is a flaw in this film series. He was saying, like, you think everyone is your friend. It seems like everyone who's against Dominic Toretto turns out to be on Dominic Toretto's side. That is such a horrible flaw, that your villain ends up not being threatening throughout the rest of the series, and they don't die.
Someone in the agency, I thought, described Vin Diesel's family really aptly, and this was a kudos to this movie. They said it's not a family, it's a cult, and he ends up recruiting everyone who gets near him. And I'm like, that is a very accurate description of this family. But the movie doesn't really do a lot with that. I think that's a cool line, and it's a cool way to think about it, but that's not what the movie's about. It's not a B plot or a C plot. It's just a throwaway line that was kind of clever.
You can tell that this script is written badly because it feels like 5 movies in one. You have Rome, Tess, the computer girl, and Han over here in Italy, and then they're trying to get back to Dom because it was all a setup that was from, Jason Momoa's character and all that stuff. And it's like jumping from that. Wait, gotta go back to Jacob's, check up on Jacob and the kid. But wait, we gotta go back to Dom with Dom and Brie Larson. You're doing too much. Your script is too congested.
Doing too much and bizarrely doing nothing, because the story doesn't move, right? Like they're just moving from action scene to action scene, but the story remains stalled. The movie stopped. The movie more or less stopped cold after the scene in Rome. After the Vatican got blown up and all of our characters moved into their respective cities that they're going to spend the rest of the film in, the movie stopped. Yeah. But we still had another 1.5 to 2 hours left. And it's just them doing action scenes. Like the first 20 minutes is a flashback to Fast Five, a better movie. And then we have the actual story in Rome. And then the movie hits pause. Boop. And then after that, it's just action scenes until they roll the credits. Yeah. And when the movie ended, I was like, why did we end here? Did something special happen? Like, the movie just kind of cuts off. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Great. I don't understand why they divided this like this, because it felt like filler. And the filler was weird. It was unusually CGI-y, like CGI-ish.
Oh,
one of the cool things about Fast and Furious is a lot of they use CGI, of course. They use a lot of real physical cars doing real physical stunts, which is pretty freaking cool. But in this, no. And one of the times that really tipped me off that this was a very different Fast and Furious movie was in that very beginning scene when they had the bomb rolling down Rome, right? It goes down some stairs, bonk, bonk, bonk. And then I forget who's driving the car, but someone is chasing behind it. And it's going down the stairs too. And the car going down the stairs looks so fake, so bad. It looks worse than anything I've seen on Xbox. I'm like, oh, what was that? How did that get in here? This movie is so strangely out of place with the other 9. It feels like it was really stitched together with like tape and bubblegum. I am shocked because again, I like the other 9 movies. I like all 9. There's a line where I was like, who's the writer of this? Where a character was like, Dom, go save your son, my nephew.
Nephew?
Like, what? Who says that? What kind of a human speaks like that?
I was like, what?
Go save your son.
And then she smiled at the end of that too. She's like, my nephew.
What?
The fact that I did not really enjoy this film does not mean I wasn't entertained. I still understand that it didn't make sense. Okay?
It didn't go anywhere. I was bored, honestly.
I'm gonna give you a spoiler alert. By the end of this film, Charlize Theron's character and Letty, they're fighting and they're trying to get out of this prison that is up in freaking Antarctica, out of all places, right?
Which I think is the best scene of the film, where the film abandons a lot of the bullshit, a lot of the CGI, and we just get two athletic people duking it out. Personally, that was the height of the film.
That was the height of the film, but in my opinion, I don't know. It doesn't have a placement in the film.
You're right.
Like, why? It's like I get it. You don't like her and stuff like that, but it was. And then the fight was like that, and then it ends up to have a unjustified resolution when she falls back down.
Exactly. I was about to say that. To your point, they fight, and she's like, "How much time do I have?" She's like, "About 4 minutes." Do. And I'm like, "All right, cool." And then she escapes, and I'm like, "All right, this is a cool little sequence." And then she's in Antarctica, and she's like, never mind. And she just comes back. So I'm like, oh, so that was just for us.
It comes up to where they need to escape, and there's a huge submarine that comes out of the water. And lo and behold, Gal Gadot's character that somehow supposed to have died back in when she was on the freaking plane thing. But no, she's in the freaking submarine, and she's there to pick them up. And I'm like, what is going on? Are we just getting to the point to where these films is like it's a face that you see that's recognizable, and they have to be in this film?
My audience laughed. And I got a roar of laughter when she came up, and I was like, yeah, because that's ridiculous. There are very few explicit deaths in this series, and that was, to me, felt like one of them. I assume she went splat on the tarmac, but the movie does give you a little bit of an out. Earlier, before all that, Letty gets stabbed in the shoulder. It's not a terrible stab wound, but she gets stabbed in the shoulder. And in the next scene, she is sitting on an operating table, and there's like a mechanical spider thing fixing her, and they fix the scar perfectly. So I'm like, so the agency has that kind of technology to be able to instantly heal a wound like that. Maybe?
Possibly she can survive.
That's what I think that scene was trying to tell me.
Maybe,
but it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's dumb, ridiculous. Mr. John Cena, he is not the same guy from the previous film.
No,
from being the bad guy. I'm like,
he's a very loving character in this one. He's a loving uncle.
It was so weird that I kind of felt like with his death in this film wasted away his whole arc. You know, and even though he said that thing about thank you for showing the light, I'm like, okay. Am I supposed to feel bad about this?
I didn't care because I didn't think it was real because everybody survived everything. To me, that was the scene where I was like, oh, this movie is just written bad and directed poorly. Through a series of ridiculous events, Dom's son and John Cena, they get into this experimental rocket car. I was shocked to see that it wasn't John Cena who was firing the rockets. It was the little boy.
It was the little boy.
So Dom's son was brutally murdering people on the freeway. And I'm like, what? You're like 8. Like, Jesus, got your first taste of bloodlust. He's like, oh my God.
Cool. You see the way his head rolled outside of the freaking vehicle? Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, what? And then in the scene before that, right? He's in a plane and he's feeling nervous because he doesn't like to fly. And then he's just like, oh, never mind. I can fly. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, which one is it? Is the kid afraid to fly or is he not?
Yeah.
Why was that there?
Let's get to the end credit scene.
Okay.
There is a guy going through, it's like a SWAT outfit, and he's going through like, I guess an abandoned church or something like that.
The reason why you don't know where it was, because it was very clearly shot way after the fact on like a soundstage far away from everybody else. They're like, who could this mysterious figure be? He might be 7'9" and built like a mountain, but who on earth looks like that? There's no, it could be anybody. Is that Gal Gadot under there? Who could it be? You're like, come on, guys.
Underneath there.
Come on, guys.
Well, I know we just saw her in the previous
exactly.
Who could it come back?
And I'm like, there's only one guy built like that. Like, okay.
The phone rings and a whole bunch of these CGI televisions pop up again, and then takes off the mask, and it's The Rock. Now, if you guys know in the media, The Rock and Vin Diesel have been not on good terms. And apparently, whatever it was, it squashed their beef.
That character's name is Hobbs, but
Hobbs,
he was in another movie with a guy named Shaw, played by Jason Statham,
Oh,
who also shows
Shaw's
up
character
in.
was disconnected in this too, boy.
Yeah, I'm like, what was that scene about? They were like, oh my God, they're after my mother. I have to leave the movie now. And then he just walks out. And it's like, oh, so that's it. He just walked out of the movie. He literally packs a bag. He packs a bag and exits the film.
Of guns and everything.
He's like, they're after my mother. Roll credits.
Oh, that is exactly how it happened. And Tyrese is standing right there with the line. Where the hell he going? Like, that's what everyone else is thinking. Where the hell he going?
The last one, they went to freaking space, and it felt more grounded than this film. Speaking of space, Pete Davidson shows up in this film, handing out weed muffins or drug muffins. For what?
It's obvious that Justin Lin and Vin Diesel did not see things, eye to eye on this film.
I agree.
And then the new director came in and he just had to just say, okay, I guess I'll just make some type of meal out of this.
Right.
And I felt that Jason Momoa was weird, but charismatic enough for me to give this film a C. The action cannot just bring me in or try to bring me in and keep me there. And for damn sure, all these famous people in here cannot save a story that's not there.
I often say a C is the worst grade because it's like right in the middle. It's like completely forgettable. But I'm gonna knock this one down just a touch because it was almost so bad to be kind of silly. Almost. So I'm gonna give it a C minus. Kudos to you, Jason Momoa. You went out on a limb. You did something completely bizarre and wild. But for me,
outside of your character.
Yeah, completely outside. Yeah, and you would expect him just to be another big guy, because he's in a movie all about big guys. But for me, it didn't work. I found it to be bizarre and distracting, and it felt like maybe there was no director. I'm like, does someone not help him out? You know what I'm saying? Or tell him, hey, let's do something different? No, he just kind of did his own thing, and kudos for him. I'm glad he had a good time. But I wasn't really feeling it. I thought the movie was bizarrely boring and plotless, which is not. It is not how the other 9 are. The movies usually know exactly what they are. People who are dead come back to life. Other people who are dead, we find out they've got other family. So now, this person's secret sister is here, and this person's secret brother is here. But this to me is the worst Fast and Furious film. I am confident you can skip this film. For whatever the next one's going to be. They'll probably give you a recap anyway, because nothing happens in this film after the Rome scene. After they leave Rome, you can leave the theater because literally nothing else happens.
Well, it seems like you already answered my next question. Do you recommend it? Because you say you can skip it.
Yes, I don't recommend this one. I've been defending the Fast and Furious franchise ever since I saw all 9. I've been defending them. But this gives people a lot of ammunition to say this series is silly and past its expiration date, because for the first time, it kind of felt like it.
I don't think you need to see this film. Go ahead and skip this one, guys. It's just what it is for me. But more importantly, do you recommend this film? Have you seen Fast X? Get in the comments and let us know what you thought about this. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. You are awesome. We really do appreciate you. If you are new to seeing us, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button right down at the bottom, all right? It really will help us out. And if you did like this rating and review for this film, please hit that thumbs up. Or you can hit that thumbs down, whichever you choose. It is your opinion. Just remember one thing, it's mostly wrong. Now, gonna ride off into the sunset with my son, because he's family.
Yeah, and your son is also a murderer because he killed people on the freeway.